Hello. I want to tell you a little story about a little girl named Nikki. When she was 13, she got tired of all the yelling and screaming that constantly came from her house, in particular from her stepfather and mother arguing all the time. And so she decided to run away one night. And when she was only about 4 blocks away from her house, a guy approached her that she had seen in the neighborhood a few times. The guy asked her why a little girl would be walking alone at this time of night. She she told him her situation, and that's when he said that he would be able to take care of her and get her whatever she needed. So one day when they were driving around, he asked her if she loved him. She replied yes, and that's when he asked her if she would do anything for him. And then that's when he continued to ask her if she would have sex with another man for money. At first, Nikki was very skeptical of the idea, and she didn't want to do it, but he assured that everything would be okay. So eventually, Nikki decided to do it. And then she thought it was a one-time deal, but it continued to happen again and again. And then also, the guy would supply Nikki with drugs to help her calm her nerves and help her cheer up. And the cycle continued to get worse, all the way until one day she was finally arrested, and a judge forced her to enter into the GEMS program, a program meant for girls exiting the childhood sex trafficking arena. Nikki's story represents a very similar story that happens all throughout Atlanta, Georgia. Atlanta, Georgia is a prime location for commercial sex exploitation of children, particularly of young girls. Child sex trafficking can be defined as sexual exploitation of children primarily or entirely for financial or economic reasons. Atlanta being a sports and travel and convention hub, it's a thriving area for immigrant communities and other communities to take advantage of the child sex industry. The FBI even named Atlanta as one of the 14 cities in the nation with the highest incidence of children being used in prostitution. Recent results of a multi-year study found that in Georgia, the amount of sexually exploited girls can range anywhere between about 4 to 500. However, unfortunately, this number doesn't even include the young girls that are exploited through underground and organized crime units, according to the Senate Research Office. Some of the most common areas of child prostitution and regular prostitution include hotels, escort services, and Craigslist ads. A study once found that child prostitution occurs in most common areas where regular adult prostitution also happens. Some of the indicators that a child is involved in domestic or international sex trafficking include signs of physical abuse, a lack of identification verification, truancy, or sometimes the child appears to be disconnected from reality, such as disconnected from the family, friends, or other people of the community. I encourage us all to pay close attention to these signs, as we may never know when we may come across a victim of child sex trafficking. So, in conclusion, we need to make sure that we keep our eyes peeled so that way incidents of stories that happen to young Nikki doesn't occur more often. And know that in Atlanta, it's one of the more prevalent areas of child sex trafficking throughout the nation. And just make sure that we keep ourselves abreast or aware of some of the indicators of a child being involved in sex trafficking, such as physical abuse or truancy or just a complete disconnect from reality. Many of us in this class might be witness to victims of child sex trafficking, but we may not even know it. By realizing the prevalence of this issue in the place that we call home, we can help stop this terrible reality from happening. Thank you.